On this episode, we talk about what live streaming platform I think is the best, how to get into marketing, and is there such a thing as too much content?
Check it.
Hey everybody, my name's Chris Carbonus, my friends call me Kubby, and this is The Kubby Show, where I dive into topics on marketing, business, and social media to give you the tools, the tips, and the tactics that you need to grow your business and grow it fast. Today we're talking to, we're not talking to a lot of people, we're actually taking questions from people on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. So let's get started. So D Sharp Designs asks, with so many different live streaming platforms, which one should be my best bet? Well, Derek, and it's only been within the last 6 months that I would say this, but I mean, Periscope really kicked ass, but Facebook Live is really moving fast. They recently just added the ability to do two people at once, right? So you can live stream an interview sort of style, and I think that is killer. I think Facebook is going to crush so many different players. We've seen the downfall of Blab really in the last 4 to 5 months. It's just kind of gone really downhill for them, and a lot of their best live streaming, whatever you want to call those, conference calls with 4 people sort of thing. A lot of the people have moved off of that, and I see the momentum really slowing on Blab. So I think that Blab is sort of out, and I think Facebook Live will be the killer application. And I think that Facebook Live is great because it's where people are. With 1 billion plus users, you can't argue that a lot of people spend a lot of time on Facebook. So I think you'll be able to build an audience quite well there. And with Facebook's paid features, it's quite easy to gain an audience if you want to pay a little bit of money. Now, and also to add to that, I mean, it's when you have a Facebook Live video, it saves and can be there forever. Whereas, Periscope, a lot of people, it used to be the case, don't quote me on this now, but it used to be the case that you had to find another place to host that live video. So Facebook is by far my favorite right now. Nathan asks, how do you get into the marketing field? Well, Nathan, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can get into the marketing field. The way that I did it was to do an internship at a very young age and go work at an agency, an advertising agency, and get my sort of feet wet there. And then I went and took a marketing degree at university, and then I went to go work for companies doing marketing. So I mean, that's how I did it, but that's not how everybody needs to do it. And I think nowadays there's much more options for you. But I will preface this by saying, I think you shouldn't do sort of the gray zone of marketing nowadays, right? There's like network marketing and affiliate marketing, and all those things can be lucrative. And I'm not trying to insult anybody who does those things. I think, everybody's got their own reasons for doing certain things, but those to me have always been sort of the gray zones of marketing, and I think you'll have a harder time getting into the game by doing those things. I think you're better off either offering your services for free or going to work for an intern, like doing an internship. Finding a marketing mentor would be a really good way to do it. Read lots of books, get lots of ideas, and then just hustle, right? Get your first gigs if you want to do that, if you want to be an entrepreneur. If you want to go the other route, I mean, the corporate route, or, go work for an agency, I really recommend those things. Agencies are great for learning things very fast. There's a steep learning curve there, and you'll be thrown into the fire, so to speak, and be given a lot of projects and a lot of stuff to sort of absorb. So, I mean, your game will just jump up levels and levels of levels if you get into an advertising agency. So that's what I recommend.
What's up, Kubby? Quick question on business and marketing. How much is too much content to put out on social media before you feel spammy? Does it depend on which sort of social media you're on? Does it depend on what kind of content that you put out?
Okay, so Tony, I really think that there is a thing as too much content. I think that everybody is different and everybody can feel when it's too much. But bear in mind, I mean, unless you've already got an audience, unless you're already, kicking ass and you have massive followings, and you're kind of at the peak. I think more content is always better, especially at the beginning, because you are gaining new audiences quicker and they're not necessarily seeing all of your old content. So a lot of people will forget to recycle old content and put that into the mix. So, I mean, you don't need a ton of content, especially on, say, Twitter or, Instagram, you can recycle a little bit. Snapchat, you can't recycle. YouTube, you're creating basically what's called evergreen content. Well, not everything's evergreen content, but you're creating content that lasts forever, sort of on YouTube. So, people can always go back to that. But I think there's no right answer other than you have to look at your audience and see, okay, are people tuning out? If you're tweeting 20 times a day, and and only 2 of those posts are getting any good engagement, then you got to look at that and say, maybe I should post less. I reduced my Twitter postings and actually saw much, much more engagement. So I think that is, like, everybody has to figure out their sweet spots. Everybody's different and every channel is different. On the other side of the coin, on Snapchat, I reduced my Snapchat usage and I saw my numbers drop significantly, and it took a while to get them back up to normal. So I think that, I don't think you can, with Snapchat right now, I don't know if you can snap too much. I think that people will start to tune out after, and they'll just start sort of like, or swipe down and get rid of your story and move on to the next. But it really is about going into your numbers and taking a look and saying, okay, yesterday I snapped 20 and, I had a reduction of, 10% less people per snap. So maybe I should only do, 5 or whatever the case is. So I really think you should experiment with that. So David asks, how can I increase the size of my audience and strengthen their interest in my content? Well, David, you kind of answered your own question. So if you want to strengthen the increase in your content, then that will increase your audience, right? So the stronger your content is, the greater your chance of exposure and increasing your size of your audience, right? So if your content is good and different and speaks to people on a certain level of whatever you're trying to say or whatever kind of emotions you're trying to appeal to, then more people get interested in your content. And what you can do is it might happen organically on its own where people share your content. I think if you want to increase your exposure, you need to create stuff that people actually want to share themselves. So one of the things that I've actually done is drop my logo off of a lot of my content, because I found people were more interested in sharing it if it didn't have a logo on it, right? Because it felt a little like advertising. And then, like, do you really want to share advertising? Well, obviously we share a lot of Super Bowl ads, but I saw that my metrics got much better when I removed it. And, people still sort of mentioned me when they shared that content, said, like, look at this great post from Chris Kubby, or, they share or repost or regram my Instagram, and they would still mention me in the comments. So that's kind of interesting. So, I took a look at your content and it doesn't look like you have any logos on stuff. So that's probably not going to help you right now. But you have to post stuff that's valuable to people, that is either extremely entertaining, or extremely valuable to them in the sense that it helps them. You're a fitness guy. So, there's lots of people doing fitness stuff. And to stand out specifically in this arena, you have a hard battle. So you have to look at how can you do content that is different than everybody else, right? Another good way is there lies or half-truths that are being, spread in your industry and in your niche. Tackle those lies, tackle those half-truths. You'll appeal to people a lot more, and you'll do some great things with that. So think about that. And then advertising. I mean, a lot of people forget that when you're talking about awareness for products, advertising is so great to just get the ball rolling. So, Facebook and Instagram ads are dirt cheap. And if you have something valuable to say and something valuable worth following for, then you'll get the exposure and you'll increase the strength, or you'll increase I guess what would you call the loyalty to your content, right? So hope those tips help. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you got a little bit of stuff out of that as well. Remember, you can always ask me questions. Use hashtag #AskKubby on Twitter, Instagram, and I will pick those up and make sure that your question gets answered on the show. Please like and subscribe.